All right, today's agenda, we are going to try to empty out this greenhouse as much as we can. I'm hoping all of it. So behind me, what you actually see is a temporary greenhouse. So right now, we've been using it as a greenhouse and it's been working really well for our plants, but it's getting really hot now. We're having days in the 80s for the next week. So although we could keep it, it doesn't have the best ventilation unless we leave this door wide open. But we've had a few days, like in the morning, like I did, where I forgot to open this door and we almost killed all of our tomato plants that were inside there. They are all looking much better than they did. They were very shriveled, drooping down, and I thought for sure that it was gonna be a problem and we were gonna have to either restart tomatoes or just forget about the tomatoes.
Or buy new tomatoes.
If you guys could not hear, she said to buy new tomatoes. That means there's no chance of just not doing it. So the first thing that we're gonna do is try to get all these tomato plants into this row, which Chelsea already nicely set up and cut some holes for them yesterday. As you can see, she is. We are cutting with a kitchen knife.
You don't give me the proper tools.
I don't give her the proper tools. So that's gonna be our pepper bed that she is setting up next. But we wanna make sure we get all these in just because it looks like frost is out of the picture. You can finally get things into the ground and it's safer than having them in the greenhouse and forgetting to open the door and letting air flow there because that will completely kill your plants. So the first thing we're gonna start with is those tomato plants that I almost killed all of them. So for our tomato plants this year, we are probably doubling, if not tripling, the amount that we grew last year. Tomatoes are something that are used in many different things. They're very easy to preserve many different ways, so we felt like this was something that we could not make enough of. We enjoy eating a lot of pasta here, so we make a lot of pasta sauce, as well as for me, I am a huge salsa person, so we hope to make our own salsa, which I believe would be absolutely delicious. So we wanted to make sure that we definitely grew enough tomato plants here for us. A tip with tomato plants that we saw, and we used this last year, is that when you go to put them into the ground finally, what you want to do is you want to go get an egg, you grab that egg, you're going to crack it in the hole that you go to plant in, and then you grab your plant and put it on top. And what it'll do, it'll give your tomato plants a big calcium boost, which it needs to help grow even stronger and better. So this is something that we found very useful when planting tomatoes. All right, the tomato plants are all in their bed. So now we have to do our row of pepper plants, which is something else that we eat plenty of here and we use a lot for many different things. So we wanted to make sure that we once again doubled or tripled our production of peppers this year, since we have more space than we did last year.
You got it? Keep trying.
I said, tell me your story.
Moon?
He took out a notepad and wrote something for me. Then
So now we got a whole row of peppers here, and this is a flower bed in between our other big bed of tomatoes. So tomatoes, flowers, and peppers. Hopefully this will be a big pollinating bed for our tomatoes and peppers, because those are two things we want to make sure that we grow a lot of. And right now we have a lot of plants that seem to be doing well. It should hopefully mean that we're gonna get a big production out of them, but that's not always what it means. But right now it does look good. We have a few straggler plants in here that we don't know exactly where to put at the moment, but we don't want them just sitting here in the greenhouse any longer because it is getting extra hot in there and it makes us have to water them more than once a day since they're just sitting here. So we might as well get them out, just put them next to our plants out here in the pots that they're in, and we'll look for a good spot for them. But it's time to clear this out because, like I said, the chickens are gonna need it. All right, all the stragglers are now out of there. And if you're to look in there now you can exactly see what I mean about how we haven't really managed our weed whacking in there at all. The grass is super long, it's hard to deal with everything that's inside there. Although this greenhouse is something that we could have kept here, it is something you can use year round and a lot of people like to use it during this time of year. Our ventilation is just not the way it needs to be inside this like hoop coop greenhouse. If you were to go look at the temperature right now, it's the hottest I've ever seen the temperature gauge region there. and it's reading at about 107 degrees inside there. So those plants that are in there that we're waiting to bring out are just getting so much heat that, like I said, they probably have to be watered twice a day just to make sure that we're not killing them inside there. Well, next, it's time to get it ready for the chickens. And the chickens definitely won't want it at 107 degrees. So we're gonna have to take this clear plastic off so it doesn't absorb all that heat and fry up our chickens. Although fried chicken is good. So this hoop coop has kind of been a big problem for us. One of the main things that we've had a problem with it is just how heavy it is. It's been really heavy even just for me and Chelsea to pull. And now that Chelsea's pregnant, she won't be able to try to help lift this at all because of how heavy it is. In order to find a way to make it work for us right now, there is already 2 wheels on the back. I'm gonna try to add 2 wheels to the front and see if that gives me enough push to this that I can help just try to manually push it to get it to a spot that we need to get to. Now that we have the whole hoop coop uncovered, the one thing we have to do to it is put a big dark tarp over the top so that it'll be nice and cool in there for when we bring it to our chicken run. It's time to see if I can push this by myself. These wheels seem not to be supporting the weight that well, so it may take a few pushes and putting the wheels back on, but let's try it.
This morning has so clear a light as any to see the horizon.
All right, we got the hoop coop inside their chicken run here, and it was not easy. If you look here, you can see this wheel is starting to break. It's way too lightweight, and the inside of it was plastic, so it actually started cracking as I was pushing it. But I was already committed, I'm already doing it, so I went for it anyways. And this tire is completely gone. I popped that tire during the whole process, but I got it where it's at, and that's all that matters. It might be a while before we move it again, and I'm not in a rush to do it. They'll probably have it here for the next 4 or 5 months, so there's definitely no rush. They can use it now all summer, which I'm happy for. This is a spot that allows them to stay covered from the heat of the sun during the summertime. Summertime is not a chicken's best friend. They honestly do better during the winter, I believe. During the summer, when the sun is beating down on them, they need somewhere to go, so now they'll have that spot. And they also like going underneath their coop. Those are kind of their 2 main spots they kind of get away from the sun here on our property. It is so nice now to see all this green placed into the garden here. We have been so excited to expand our garden this year and grow a lot more. And now actually seeing all of it into the ground and still seeing how we have like complete rows that we haven't used yet that we can still fill just feels amazing. Like it's like what to do with all the space. I did want to show you guys, it looks like our potatoes that we have all in this back row, you can kind of see all the holes placed throughout. They're really starting to pop up. So we should be able to grow, I forgot what Chelsea calculated it out to, but definitely over 100 pounds of potatoes. I just forgot the number. It's probably something even more than that. And of course, if you have potatoes, you want to have onions, and we have all of our onions growing right here, and that's going to be a lot of onions. So potatoes and onions are definitely 2 things that we can use a lot while cooking. It's very nice to not see the big greenhouse now in front of the garden. From our view, like looking into the backyard, it covered up the whole like front of the garden kind of view. So now we get this great view of it. So when all these plants are gonna start growing, it's gonna be so cool to see it all just grown in. Well, the night is coming to an end. The chickens don't need their new hut at all because the sun is now away for the night. It's behind all of those big trees that we have in the back of the property. And it seems like it's getting more and more put together once again. So we're happy about it here. We're enjoying the look of everything. I'm happy to have that back into the chicken run. Everything seems to be going to plan. Have a great day and a better tomorrow, and we'll see you in the next one.